Here I am, 32 years old, working a full-time job while pursuing art on the side. It took me a long time to figure out what I actually want in my life. And even now, I know the road ahead won't be easy. But today, while I do some hat drawing practice, I want to tell you how I finally got on this path that feels right to me, after years of struggling. I feel like these types of stories always started with, when I was a kid, I loved drawing. Well, I was no exception. I would spend the whole afternoon crawling around the coffee table, sketching characters from cartoons I loved watching. I really enjoyed it, but I was also a very active kid and spent a lot of time outside. So drawing was just one of those things I did occasionally. I even took a couple art classes. I liked them, but I also don't remember why I stopped. I grew up in China, and once my teenage years hit, life pretty much became all about schools. Studying for exams, solving math problems, learning traditional Chinese poems, remembering English vocabs, everything that would get me into a good college. Drawing just quietly disappeared from my life during those years. Fast forward, I got into college, and for whatever reason, I majored in statistics. And oh my god, I hated it. Math had always been my least favorite subject, and having to deal with formulas and numbers every single day is just the worst. So when I was applying for grad school in the US, I racked my brain trying to come up with something else to study. But ironically, I just couldn't think of anything. I feel like I'm interested in a lot of things, but I also don't feel like any of those could make into a job in the future. And art, like that, didn't even cross my mind at that point. So, very unfortunately, I chose statistics again. Well, at least I know there's a job out there for that. And right after graduation, I did find a job very quickly and became a data analyst. And right off the bat, I hated it again. Okay, maybe I was exaggerating a little. I liked the free lunch and my coworkers, but the job itself, it was just so draining. I would put off my alarm clocks like more than 10 times before I can drag myself out of the bed every morning. Just thinking about going to work feels like it's killing me. Like every day going to work is absolutely torturing. I talked to my parents and they said what a lot of people would say, oh, it's just a job, nobody likes your jobs, you just gotta do it for the money. I tried to believe that and I tried to numb myself, and it would work for like 3 days. Then the dread came back, just stronger than before. And that's when the voice in my head started asking, okay, you hate this job, fine. But what do you want to do instead? That question made me feel even worse because I didn't know. Am I going to suffer through the next 30 years, waiting for retirement to finally do the things I want to do, whatever that might be? Well, I didn't get much time to figure that out because 10 months into my first job, the company collapsed and laid everybody off, right before Christmas. That's a story for another time if you're interested. After a lot of struggles and even moves between countries, I finally came back to the US and I found a new job 1.5 years later. And guess what? I still hated it. When things happen once, it might be a fluke. But when it keeps happening, it's probably trying to tell you something. Alright, here's something I want to acknowledge before I continue with the story. Being able to ask, what do I want to do for my life, is a privilege. I had a decent job, I didn't really need to worry about money. I have parents that can support me financially if I need. For all of that, I'm very grateful for. Okay, back to our story. So to salvage myself from the devastation, I somehow started drawing again. And it was like, oh, this makes me feel happy. This makes me feel alive. The joy I had drawing when I was a kid all came back to me. But at this point, art was still just a hobby. I mean, I grew up hearing that art wasn't a real job, so it didn't even occur to me that I could do this for a living. But then I started following artists on YouTube and Instagram, and I saw all these artists thriving at doing art, and they're making art their full-time job. And slowly, this idea crept in. Maybe I could too. But I still hesitated a lot. I'm turning 30. Is it too late to start? Do I even have the talent? Can I actually make enough money from doing this? There were just still lots of doubts and fear. Until one moment. It happened on a ski lift. Yeah, a ski lift. Stick with me. So skiing is another one of my biggest passions. That winter, I was in Salt Lake and I skied a lot with this one instructor. One day, I was sitting on the chairlift with him, and I just randomly asked him, so what do you do in summer? And he turned around and said, I'm a full-time artist. I do fabric painting. I taught myself. Wait, what? This guy was skiing in the winter, painting in the summer, and living on his own terms. Wow, I didn't realize this kind of life is possible. And I wanted it too. Well, not necessarily become a ski instructor, although that'd be great as well, but to live the life the way he did, with joy, with purpose, doing what he loves. Isn't that what life is for? And he taught himself, maybe I could too. It might sound like a small, random moment now I'm talking about it, but I still think a lot about it all the time. That conversation planted a seed in me. It pushed me to believe that maybe I can build a life doing what I love, which is drawing or art. So I started taking some online classes. I was enjoying it, I was making progress, but it also wasn't like I just went full speed from there and never looked back. It's still a constant push and pull between what my heart wants and all the preconceptions I grew up with. All the voices that say, art isn't a real job, you are starting too late, you're supposed to play safe, yada yada. Some days I really believed I could do it. I would draw for hours, have a blast, and think, yeah, this is it. I'm so good at this. And then there were other days I looked at the trash that I just drew and felt like I wasn't going anywhere. I just wasn't very consistent and stayed in this in-between places for over a year until another turning point came. This one was much, much harder. It's my best friend's passing. While I was dealing with the grief and all kinds of emotions, I had this sharp, painful realization that life is just so unpredictable. We don't have all the time in the world to just keep waiting. And from that moment on, I knew I couldn't keep ignoring what my heart had been trying to tell me for a very long time. I knew I wanted to become an artist. I can't let all that outside voice, the fear, to keep stopping me. Since then, for almost 3 years now, I've been pretty consistent with drawing. It's still very hard. Progress is slow and work would get in the way sometimes. And I took a 3-month break because I felt like I wasn't making any progress and I was even stepping backward. But I always came back because deep down I know exactly what I want. And I know it's not going to be easy. I had to work really hard for it. Now, nearly 3 years later, I look back and I'm so glad that I didn't give up. I had so much fun. I frequently got into this beautiful flow state. I've made so much progress. I just can't think of a better way to have spent that time. I still have my corporate job today, and I'm not planning to quit it anytime soon because, let's be real, I still need the money. But like I mentioned earlier, the job gives me the stability and a peace of mind to allow me to keep going with art. And luckily, my relationship with job has also changed a lot. I've made peace with it. I think the difference is because now I have a North Star. I know I'm not going to be stuck here forever. I have plans for my future self. And that takes away a lot of the tensions between me and a job. And now I'm okay with these two things running in parallel, and I'm curious to see where this will take me. If you've been waiting for some kind of sign, maybe this is it. This message finds its way to you for a reason. So if you've been thinking about doing something similar, but you've been hesitating, or if you're already on your own path and still trying to figure things out, I hope this can be a little source of inspiration for you. And hopefully we can cheer each other up along the way. Thank you so much for being here and listening to my story. And if you're curious about what my progress has looked like so far, feel free to check out my other videos. I'll see you next time. Bye!